say crease, I want them creased. And when we say Larry, that means Larry, go somebody up, Larry. But everybody's touchy feel on his assy. Now you're saying, there it is, Gregg's being a again. No, I'm trying to figure out how I can help you make this team. We haven't said that in the rooms yet, evidently. The 100th time. We've said it 99 times, but the 100th time we're going to get it because all the colleges in the country and all your moms and dad, nobody's supposed to holler at any of you guys anymore. People that have enabled you your whole life, they're disabling you for your future. When you don't do what you're told to do, you get fired in other jobs. You'll get fired here too.
What's going on? It's your boy Hatter from the FFL. We got Coach G-Dub in the building once again. And obviously, we got to start off last week's pick. Oh, man. I mean, I went freaking 1-4. You know, Coach, tell me about last week, man.
Well, I will tell you, is that I hope you were able to sleep because it brought a smile to my face that I got every single one of them right. And I've had to live that my whole life by it always being right. And I'm very comfortable with doing that now.
I'm telling you. I mean, you know, I want the Lions to obviously head to the Super Bowl. But, I mean, last week, it was just, to me, it was just like, man, I don't think Goff is going to do it. I mean, if you guys go back to the video, I just wasn't thinking he was going to do it. What do you think the Lions did to come out and get that dub?
I think Aaron Glenn did a really good job of how he had to adapt some of the things he was doing against Baker. You know, I thought he did a very good job. You know, he's taken a lot of heat for 2 interceptions, but the first interception wasn't on him at all. It was a drop pass, and it wasn't on Baker. He threw the ball right. The one at the end of the game was a very, very well played ball by that linebacker that sealed the game for them. And then I thought that, you know, Aaron did a good job with his pressure systems and some of his zone drops out and some of his simulated pressures where it made it look like he was coming with everybody, but he was dropping linemen out, dropping backers out, dropping people out of a flat line of scrimmage. And it kind of confused a little bit, okay, into some of the protections that were going on. Because Baker took a couple of big hits, and he was fortunate to be able to hold on to the football on a couple of those sacks on unblocked rushers. But it was a heck of a game, and I thought the Lions did a really good job on the line of scrimmage. They controlled the line of scrimmage, and that's how Dan Campbell is, and got to keep it going.
Definitely. We have to talk about one of the main news that came out yesterday. That is, you know, Jim Harbaugh being the new Chargers head coach. Now he's reuniting with the team he played for. What do you think?
Well, Jim and I are good friends, and we had some conversations all year long and right after the national championship game. I'm very happy for him, his whole family, the coaching family, John, his dad, Jack, everybody. And I think it's great that Jim's back in it. There's no doubt in my mind of what he will do to help Justin Herbert. They've got a solid quarterback, a very good quarterback there. And now the biggest things that they're going to have to do, and some of the people are going to have to be a little bit patient with him, is that they've got some cap restraints going on. They've got some aged players, a little bit, aging players over on the defensive side more so than the offensive side that they're going to have to decide on cap restraints on how they continue to grow for a year or two till that cap situation evens out. But I'm happy for Jim, and I think it's a great place for him to land.
I mean, definitely playing quarterback in the league, and you know, obviously get Herbert finally getting a support system that he needed, right? And I think it's going to be amazing to see. Obviously, like you were saying, Coach, it's going to take time, but we shall see what's going to happen next year.
I have talked before about players understanding whether you really know the game or not. You're coaching me, but do you really understand what I'm doing and what I have to do? And I do really believe, especially, and as you know how bright Herbert is, that quarterback is very, very intelligent. He's going to have things and be able to ramp things on and off with Jim to be able to make them better and make him better. I think it's a great fit between he and the quarterback.
Definitely. Now we definitely aware about this guy, Mr. Raheem Morris. Obviously, a guy that was with the Commanders at one point, and now finally getting his head coaching position. Now, do you think it's finally his time to shine, or what do you think? It's going to be a lot of learning curves for him.
Raheem and I are good friends also, and we talk weekly, after games and everything. And I'm very happy for him. And he's back in Atlanta. He was at Atlanta for quite a while there. Okay, and so he was on Quinn's staff and all that stuff, and he's been the interim. He's been, he's had his head coaching thing down at Tampa Bay. I think this is a perfect situation for him. I really do. I think they've done a very good job here in the last couple of years of how they've managed to cap the salary cap. And now they're in a position to go out and go after people to improve that team in free agency along with the draft. So I think it's a good hire. I really do. I think he's a very positive, energetic man. I think he did a really, really good job at the Rams with what he was doing there and how he was coaching those guys there. So, yes, that's a good hire. I think it was great for him, and I wish him the best of luck.
Definitely. I mean, it's like whenever Morris was coaching, I feel like things wasn't clicking for him until the recent year with the Rams. He finally got that spotlight. So let's see how he does. Hopefully he uses, Bijan the right way, with the
The
upcoming
big thing
season.
is that every what people have to understand, and I don't think people understand enough of, good experience, bad experience, they're all learning experiences. And we have to check our ego and learn right or wrong from every experience. And Raheem is very intelligent. And I know that he'll do a really good job on how he has been around some top coaches and how they go about doing things that way. And now with this situation here. And the number one thing you do when you step into that head coaching role, and if you're not going to be in charge or a part of play calling, is you must hire people and surround yourself with good coaches who know what they need to do and not have to be babysit by the head coach. So his staff he hires has to be able to do their job so he can do his job as a head coach.
I definitely agree on that. I do have a surprise for you, Coach. Okay. I had to hit my boy up. You know what I'm saying? We go back. And let's just say you was his former coach, but not only you was his former coach, you guys coached together as well. Who could it be? Now, here is our guest for our show on the FFL. Okay? The one and only, Andre Carter in the house.
Hey,
Coach,
hey, hey,
Coach,
hey,
how you doing, man?
hey. How
How you
about that?
doing?
That is outstanding. It's great to see you.
Same here, Coach. How you doing?
Where are you at, my man?
I'm a freaking world traveler. I'm being a soccer dad. Who would have thought? Making my rounds from Florida and California and Texas. So I'm there in different hubs. So we're making our way to Texas, and I think that's it for these next 2 years. I'm getting burnt out.
Well, I know. And you know what, too? And I want you to, and you've heard me say this before, you need to enjoy every second you can with those children because
Yes,
as we go through all these experiences and everything, little kids, little problems, bigger kids, bigger problems. And so you
yes.
got to be able to do that. And I'm enjoying my grandkids right now, too.
That's great. How's the baby boy, the baby boy of the bunch?
Well, the baby boy of the bunch, and now you've heard this. I do know that there actually is a God because my biggest prayer in life is I wanted to have a grandson and that
Yes.
Blake would have a son that was a bigger pain in the ass than him.
There you go. You got
And
your wish.
that makes my day knowing
There
that
you
he
go.
is very intelligent and he's 1,000 miles an hour.
How old is he now, Coach?
3.5.
Oh man, oh boy, terrible twos, terrible
3.5.
threes, and terrible fours.
And
Sometimes terrible five.
every single day, what he does is he competes with me on everything.
There you go.
He doesn't do it with mom and dad, but I don't care if we're going up and down the steps. If I'm going to go sit in a chair, he's fighting for that chair. He wants everything to do, and he wants to be able to impose his will on me before I yank him and throw him down. That's good.
Good. Is the big sister putting the little brother in his place, or
Pretty much. Pretty
there
much.
you go.
That's good too. Yeah,
That's good.
Good sibling rivalry. So it's good too.
You got to have that to keep the balance.
You know that. You know.
That's great, Coach.
Andre, man. The real 99, right?
Yes, sir.
The person who should actually be wearing number 99 on the field. Obviously, Coach Greg, they don't make him like him anymore. You know what I'm saying? They just ain't. They just don't.
And as a player and as a coach, and again, he understands and knows all the time too. Okay, he can understand who he's around as a teammate, who he's around as a coach, on whether you know what you're doing and how we're going to go about doing things, and then now check whoop ass, and he knows how to do it.
That's it.
Definitely. Hey, Andre, tell me about your experience with LSU coaching for them. Walk us through the coaching career.
Well, I like to thank Coach Ed Ogeron. He was the one that put me on board to the staff. And I tell you what, if anybody knows defensive line, especially from a collegiate standpoint or collegiate quote-unquote football curriculum, I mean, he's on it. And so just really sitting down and talking to him and how to really kind of break down film, and more so from an organizational standpoint, because when you're in the NFL, you forget that you have a lot of time, and the players that you currently have in the NFL, they have time, but college is just such a different dynamic, and just how the NCAA rules are. You only got the 3.5, 4 hours to work with them. If the kid's kind of doing rehab, hey, just come to my office real quick. I got 5 minutes to show you. I mean, so time is precious. Energy is precious. So, Coach Ed really just helped me break down teaching, the mechanics. And I mean, like I said, he's a D-line, he's a D-line coach by trade. So that was his baby. And as a head coach, it's hard to let go of your baby. But as the week progressed, you saw how I really try to implement my style as well as his style, and just basically combine it. And so it was a great relationship. And to this day, we still talk, but learned a lot from him. But I tell you what, I'm not a recruiter. I'm not a salesman. I'm not a sales pitch. Once that season was done, I had to go on the road. I mean, I was making my way from I had to go to Arizona, see this kid Anthony Lucas, who's now at USC. And then I think I was in Mississippi. I was in Louisiana. It was that was something definitely different. Unfortunately, Ed had resigned, but when the season was finally over, we still had to continue coaching because we're in a bowl game. So you're kind of in that unknown territory. You still got to recruit, but once the bowl game was done, then obviously the staff got dismissed. But I do miss college coaching in a sense, because the younger kids are like sponges, and I had some great kids. Currently, Neil Farrell, he's one of my defensive tackles. He's at Kansas City. And Ollie Gay, he's on practice squad with Houston Texans. And I still keep in contact with some of my guys. They're kind of doing other things. Andre Anthony was one of my players. Fortunately, he had a kind of a little bit of knee injury about a year and some change ago, but he's going to try to do this XFL thing. So it's good to see kids that just, whether I reach out to them or vice versa, it's all about healthy relationships. So it's been an honor to coach him.
Right.
And I love the fact that you talked about Ed Ogeron, and I knew you guys would be great together. I met Ed in 1986 when he was a graduate assistant at the University of Arkansas, and I was a head high school coach, football coach in South Kansas City, in a pretty tough area. And after he moved up, and back then as GAs, you can even do off-campus type interviewing and stuff. And he came through my school, and we remained good friends the rest of our lives together.
Oh man, small world. Yeah, but I enjoy Coach Ed, and some of the stuff that I've been doing, just more high school football, and so some of the technique and just the development of whether it's just freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, I've implemented that in kind of like the football curriculum. And the kids love it. You explain the why, and they take it. They're like, Coach, I'm getting better. I was like, well, hey, you listen. I appreciate you listening. Getting to listen is probably the hardest thing for any player, whether it's high school, collegiate, or NFL.
Yep.
Coach Andre, I mean, giving the listen, but also chewing the players out like Coach G-Dub does. I know you have some stories to
Oh yeah.
tell.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
have come on now. I mean, this is coaching. This is coaching the prime. This is Gregg in the prime now.
From 07, from the early 2000s, you get away with it. And I think now from 2020 and up, the PR is going to be up your ass every day.
No doubt. And
dynamic.
I've had to modify a lot nowadays. You can't do
Yeah.
those things back when you were still playing.
No, but I think as a coach, like I said, I've had great coaches. Obviously working with Gregg. Greg Blige at the time with the Redskins. I'm sorry,
Yep.
I still say Redskins. I can't help it.
Me too.
It's just in the coaches I've had throughout the course of my career, it's kind of like you're still old school. Once old school, always old school. But then you implement the new school, so you have that balance. And so mine is cursing with sarcasm. And so you find that healthy balance where you're not, look, I'm not degrading you, I'm helping you. It's like context and content. Content are just words. Context or what am I trying to get through to you? And so once you kind of explain it, you watch film, you rep it and rep it and rep it to the point like, okay, I see why you're very sarcastic. I was like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you this for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Now you're finally getting it. So you gotta find that happy medium.
And and you and I both know, and as hard as I was and all this type of stuff, we never, ever, ever broke a meeting that I was in without somebody coming up in the front of the room and telling a joke.
Yep, that's
it's important to laugh. It's important to have a good time. And unfortunately for me, a lot of those jokes you guys told all the time was about me being stupid or whatever. Everybody else thought it was funny because you guys busted me.
Yeah, I remember Phil. I forgot what Phil. I remember Phil said a good joke. I forgot what it was, but he did add you. He added you into the mix. So
yep,
it was always something. You got to always break the ice, especially whether the season's going great or not so well. You got to have a sense of humor. If you ain't laughing, then you ain't living.
Gregg coaching you, but you also playing with Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you? Having a guy like that behind you and playing.
Well, I tell people this, as my time playing with Sean, it's called two lenses, right? That first lens is where you got the blinders on. As a player, you're really focused on your job, and then unfortunately, even during times where we watch film, I'm really literally just focusing on myself. Okay, these are things I get better and how to continue to grow as a player. But then, fortunately, when Sean passed away, I ended up, watching film. And then I remember just seeing this documentary on Sean. And obviously there was a time when I played with him, I'm like, damn, he was a hell of a player. It's like, I knew, he's good. He's surrounded by good guys. And you appreciate him, you appreciate his work ethic, but it was just, for him, it was just like he was a silent assassin. But like I said, I wish I could really go back and really embrace what he brought to the game. I mean, I knew he was a playmaker, but like I said, it's the tale of two lenses. I'm focused on my job as a player, but then when you leave the game, you're like, whoa. I was like, I really just wish I could embrace him even more as a player. But the fact that I played with him was just, even if it was a short season, is probably one of the greatest seasons of my life, because he is just, he was just a physical player, and he just loved to hit. I mean, and those players they come in rare form.
And his instincts, his anticipation, his understanding above and beyond IQ intelligence was amazing. And I don't know, you probably saw it, but we did on my show, Come Get Some show that I do now, is that we did on November the 27th was 16 years, 16-year anniversary from the day of him passing. So we did the entire the entire show was about him.
Yeah. Oh wow. No, that's great, Greg. I'm glad you did that for him.
Yep.
Obviously Sean Taylor will always live, but man, that statue they made of him, man. I mean, guys,
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
what's
Yeah.
what's
That's notable.
what's the feedback on that? I mean, I can go on and on. Coach, I think I'd never asked you that, G Dub and Andre. Obviously, you're here. Tell me your feedback about that and what they got to do. Obviously, new owners in there, they got to do something about that. I mean, that thing, come on.
No doubt about it. And
Wait, you
the
start off with.
owners will be more receptive to the whole thing. That they have now. He's on the Ring of Honor and all that kind of thing now. And those are things that are processes. And again, as you all know, you've heard me use the word empowerment and how you make the other people think it's their idea. And then as you try to force yourself, or I try to force myself on them, and all of a sudden there's fight back. We got to continue to convince, we got to continue to talk about it and empower those people to pull the string and get that done.
You said it, Greg. I mean, for me, I just think, writing on the wall, his credentials are on the wall. He brought, perseverance, mental toughness, straight tenacity. I mean, I can give all the types of adjectives to describe Sean, but he's definitely, no doubt, one of those type of men that needs to hopefully maybe one day have a statue. Who knows? Maybe, I know there have been talks of the town of Washington possibly having a new stadium. That's been the talk.
Right.
Where I think I heard, was it Virginia, Coach? There was something kind of floating around. I think maybe somewhere close to the facility. But if that does happen, will be a great location to have.
Yep, it is. And I think there's competitors. There's people out there bidding and competing over in Virginia. But I think that everybody they're trying to hope that everything will be the decisions were made so they can put it downtown in the old RFK stadium site. And that would be a great area if they could get that done.
That'd be great.
Definitely. I mean, they got a lot of cap space now. I mean, let's see what happens with the head coaching position, and we shall see. Hopefully, as a Commander fan, there's always that movie that we see every damn year. So, but Andre, I mean, you playing for multiple teams. What do you think the most best experience was for you in general? What was a favorite place that you played at from your perspective?
People always ask me that, and I think it kind of comes with years and staff, as opposed to team. So,
Right.
for example, when I got drafted by the 49ers, I mean, that was just a great year in 2001, because I was just surrounded by great vet teams. Derek Deese, he was like my counterpart. He was my offensive tackle undersized offensive tackle that was a technician by trade. So him being a technician ended up helping me become a better technician. Bryant Young, Dan Stubblefield. I mean, Derek Smith. I had Derek Smith,
Yep.
One of the best linebackers, along with London. Then you kind of go on. So like basically from 01, I say from 01 to 02, even though I was with San Francisco for 5 years, 01 and 02 were great because I had a great staff. Dwayne Board was my D-line coach. Steve Mariucci was the head coach. But that staff and the team and how everything was aligned, because we were a vet team, but then as the younger guys kind of came in, the vets basically led the team, and Mariucci did a good job just facilitating that. He had this thing called the 12 Disciples, and the 12 Disciples were basically the vet leaders, offense, defense, and special teams. And so I think what he'd do was, I believe, once a week or bi-weekly, he would meet with the coach, he would meet with the players and say, hey, how's everything going? How's your bodies feeling? Do we need to cut back on this? Do we need to do more of this? And so my first year, we were 12-4. And then, we were 12-4. Yeah, we were 12-4. And then my second year, we were 10-6, but still both years we entered the playoffs. And so they were great. Now, sadly, obviously, Mooch got let go, and then Bill Walsh was removed from his post, and then everything kind of went downhill. So, three rough years of rebuilding. or trying to rebuild. Unfortunately, it just wasn't the same. But 49ers was by far those first 2 years. My career was great. Transition to Washington, basically I think from '06 to '09, we had a great defense. We were just mentally tough. Joe Gibbs was Joe Gibbs. Gregg was Gregg. It was just now that was, I think, definitely '06. It took a while to kind of get into my groove, but I really enjoyed the physicality of the NFC East. It was different from the NFC West. I mean, you're battling Philadelphia. Philly always came with it. New York Giants came with it. Cowboys, hey, bring your big boy pads. And Joe Gibbs, he wouldn't let up. I think there was 1 week before the collective bargaining agreement. I think we were hitting probably still by like week 12, week 13.
No doubt, we were.
Yeah, we were. Wednesday was inside run. I'm like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
So, but from '06, '07, '08 was a little rough, '09, but those were fun. What I loved most was we had a great camaraderie on the defensive line. From me, Joe Salavea, Philip Daniels, Ronaldo Wynn, Demetric Evans. We have a bunch of younger guys coming in. I mean, it was a strong foundation. Marcus Washington, who really helped, who I really loved and embraced because I was just such a tight ass. He helped get me out of my shell as a player. Obviously, playing with Sean Taylor, Crazy Fred.
Then London Fletcher came in, and all of a sudden he thought he was calling the defense.
Yeah. I tell you what, when we signed, obviously that first the '06 year, it was a hey, who was a Mike linebacker? Lamar Marshall. Hey, it is what it is. Hey, it's just different. From going from he was like a will linebacker, and then come to Mike linebackers, a lot of responsibilities. But and not to to save face when London came in, I was like, okay.
There you go.
I said, yep, that's why he is who he is. Always a fighter, always the underdog, but just smart, man. And
hey, you love this is that right then was when we went to the communication into the helmet, and he put his hands like this. He would fake. He knew that he could hear me, but he would act like he didn't so that he could make the call when you guys play.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm not shocked, especially coming from London. But we know it was great. But then obviously, staff change and had some rough years. New England, I think New England was New England. They always say the Patriot way, but to be honest, it was just the infrastructure of an organization where you have people on staff from the time I was there in '01, '02. They had people on staff that just really knew what to do. So everything started from up top. Secretaries, PR people. People were very vested, 10, 15, 20 years there. Yep. So being in New England, there wasn't much turnover. You had coaches there that were there for, 10 plus years.
Yep.
The secretary, God bless her, she was there for forever since the beginning. So everybody knew what to do, how to do it. It was straight. It was functional. But no, Bill is Bill. Everybody knows who Bill is. I've never came across a coach that was just into everything. Coming into, I think, week 4 or week 5, I'm watching film with Pep Johnson. Next thing you know, Bill comes in. He's like, all right, let's watch film. Okay, this left offensive tackle, this is what you got to do. This left guard, this is what you got to do. Special teams, he was on it. Offense, he was on it. I remember one day, I think I passed his office. He had like a blanket and a pillow on his couch. He those are the ones that are vested. I'm sure there's other coaches that are like that.
Yep.
But as a player, when you physically see that, he's like, oh yeah, he's all. He probably maybe got 3-4 hours of sleep at night. But I think his ability, how he saw the game, how he saw the field, it was just incredible because we would just, we would make a big stop on defense. He would come, look at the pictures. Hey guys, make sure anticipate. His level of anticipation by far was the best out of any coach I've been around. There was don't get me wrong. There was times it was like method to madness. I'm like, why the heck are we doing this week? We're getting after him. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, trust the process. Obviously, he sees something he anticipated, and it was great. Raiders, being with the Raiders, I was basically on my last leg, but I tell you what, I appreciate the Raiders for giving me a chance. I had coming off a ruptured quad tendon, but I could still play. Probably wasn't the true Andre Carter, probably about 75%, 80% the whole 100 Carter, but still could go. And then obviously I finished with New England towards the end. That was I'm just trying to get my pension and be a vet. So. But hey, 13 great, amazing years in the NFL. And
we got to talk about the 80 sacks, the 20 plus forced fumbles. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well,
come on. What player like that?
Yeah,
right now
I'm still thinking about the 20. I wish I had. I'm 20 shy from the 100. But it is an accomplishment. I'm very honored to at least get a Pro Bowl now, which is hard to come by. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of great players out there. So to get a Pro Bowl credit, hey, I'll take it.
But Andre, I mean, see nowadays, they got all these cornballs going to these, to the Pro Bowls just because of their name. And and Coach Gregg, you got to let the fans know that getting the Pro Bowl back in the days was actually the real Pro Bowl. Now,
do you remember when Sean Taylor was in the Pro Bowl and he hit the punter?
The punter,
Mormon got busted.
I signed him as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now I'm down there with you guys at the Redskins at that time, and I couldn't wait to get on the phone with Mormon and say, "How'd that feel, buddy?"
Yeah, I remember that. I saw the film on that. I was like, yep, good old Sean. That doesn't surprise me.
But you see, I mean, it goes back to, like nowadays they're looking at the names, right?
Yes.
Getting the names, and they're trying to get these high names in the Pro Bowl. It's come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude.
I know for a fact, and look, it's not being biased, but you play with man like London Fletcher. I mean, how many Pro Bowl nods did he miss? I mean, 100+ tackles consistently for X number of years.
Got the same numbers at Ray Lewis, and then they're still trying to find an excuse to not put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What people don't understand is that he played 17 years and never missed a game.
And never missed a snap.
Never missed a snap. And we want to talk about load management.
Yes.
And this guy's still playing.
Yes.
And the next time you see him, you can ask him about how come Gregg made you wear number 59. I said, well, it stands for 5'9". You're short and you have to wear that. And he looks at me angrily and says, last time I looked, they don't measure the size of a hole by how tall I am.
Yeah.
He fell in the hole. And we still laugh about that all the time.
That's funny. I like that. I didn't know that one. That's a good one.
Do you think, Andre, the game nowadays, I mean, obviously, I already know the answer, is getting too soft to the point where you just can't do anything, right, as a defensive player?
Yes. It is. It's, look, I'm like, I never graduated from physics, but I just feel like it's humanly impossible when you're going 100 miles per hour and you're telling the guy, this is how you're supposed to hit. This is how you have to tackle from a safety measurement. It's humanly impossible. But I tell you what, there was a situation years ago when I was assistant D-line coach for the Dolphins. Will Hayes was a great player, defensive end. We were playing Tennessee Titans. I'm not sure you saw that, Greg. We were playing the Tennessee Titans. He was I forgot who the quarterback was at the time, but he was he was coming towards the quarterback. He tackled him, but and in his mind was like, oh, I can't obviously I can't put my body on him. So what he did was he positioned himself to basically hit and try to roll. But what happened was that was his last snap. It's just
some of these rule changes are being made, and you talk about physics by guys who've never played. They don't know. And so you go through all that analytics, they don't know the feel of what it means to cut it loose. I do believe, we're working hard to make it a safer game. I got no problem with that. But let's make sure we understand that this is a full contact game. It's not flag football.
No, it's not. It's not. As much as people rip Tom, I'm sure you saw that interview.
Yeah.
Talking about with quarterbacks placing the ball.
Yeah.
Like, look, if I'm throwing the ball and the wide receivers coming inside, I got to do my best as a quarterback to not place that ball knowing he's going to get killed. I was like, you know what? I'll take that. That's smart.
When he said that, it brought me back to when I was a college quarterback and I led the captain of the team. I led him into a big hit that knocked him out cold. When he came to, he told me he was going to kick my ass.
Yeah.
Don't throw me into a place that I'm going to get lit with my head and I'm not even looking about where I'm going. And you know what? That is a big part of playing the quarterback position.
Yep. Football IQ.
Yep.
Andre, you coached with G-Dub, with the Jets. How was that experience? Both of you guys being together in the same building, coaching together. How was that?
Hey, he did a great job. Listen to me about going through all the things. It's hard to go through. I'm not going to go through the dysfunction or anything about things there, but he did a great job, and the players really loved him.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. No, it's this, you learn from Gregg, and, we had a great staff. I know Gregg had worked with Frank Bush, and I was with Frank Bush, our linebacker coach, who had been a great mentor for me. I mean, just structure, organization of showing drill work, and then also implementing defensive install. Those things are important. So as I was continuing to grow as a coach, working with Frank Bush really broadened my perspective of, okay, you got to kind of you do have the individual drills, but every day you have to constantly think scheme. Collectively, how do I fit these guys in the scheme to make them efficient? And that was one thing I learned from Frank Bush. He was just such a great mentor for me. But overall, collectively, I mean, we had some great guys. We had some great leadership. One of them in particular was Steve McClendon. I mean, he was a guy that was just a solid vet. I mean, his career started in Pittsburgh. Was I forget, undrafted. Just he's just the guy that just had to fight, scratch, and claw his way into the league. But over the years, he just earned a spot, earned a starting position. But I think just his perseverance and just his leadership role was much needed. His passion for the game was amazing, but I'm proud of him because those characteristics have carried on to who he is the man today, because now you're talking with a man that's now leading, I think mostly high school kids. He has a facility in Atlanta, and all I'm seeing him is, pushing, younger players that have the aspirations to go on to the next level. And the kids are doing lacrosse. I always mess with them like, you got kids doing lacrosse, man. It's, but, like I said, and we had some other dudes, but Steve, because I think Steve was mostly in my room. Just such a great guy. Quentin Williams, obviously, come to his second year. He had a great.
How about that? Very proud.
Yeah, man, and just playing lights out. Still enjoy watching him. John Frank Myers. I mean, great. We had some good dudes, man.
Andre, you being drafted in the first round, all right, with the 49ers, we got to have you in the picks for this week.
Definitely. Hey, once the 49er, always the 49er. I got to do it. Now, if we're talking football, it's I feel like it's going to definitely be a dogfight. Both defenses are playing lights out. I say this, and I'm a former player because, Andre Carter said it don't matter. I love the front seven of the 49ers.
Yep.
They're the best. The linebacker core, oof. I mean, it's straight lights out. But look, Detroit is Detroit. They're playing with the edge. I love that. It's chippy. They're grindy. It's just kind of like this by any means necessary. I'm really, that's probably out of all games. Obviously, both games are going to be great. But obviously, being a former 49er, I gotta go with the 49ers. So hopefully that ends up going in their favor.
And that D-line coach at the 49ers, I think, is the best in the league. And he grew up and learned everything from the guy that I hired many years ago, Jim Harbaugh.
Washburn.
They've done a great job there. And I'm very proud of Dan Campbell. I had to coach him down at the Saints and everything, and Mark Burnell and Aaron Glenn and all that there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, I think that one be real physical. So I'm looking forward to that one. Now, if you want to, oh yeah, the next one. Well, you know me. Look, love Travis Kelce. I'm not. What's her name? I'm tired.
Lefty.
Yeah, Travis Kelce's girlfriend.
Oh, what?
You're not a Swiftie.
I'm not a Swiftie. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done. Every time I see it, I'm like, man, just stop showing it, please. Like, I just want to watch football.
See, this is what football's coming to, though, man. This is what football's coming to. You know, they're putting the camera more on the press boxes nowadays than they are on the field.
It's like, come on, man, just let's watch the game. You know, but I tell you what, Ravens. I'm favoring the Ravens. Like I say, I'm always going to go defense, and we'll get to offense, but defense, man, woof.
They're doing a great job,
man.
That coordinator, Mike McDonald's, doing a great job with how he's handling all that stuff. And people aren't giving him enough credit. Anybody's having a tough time getting over the top of that secondary too, like tricking some things and all that stuff. They get after you on the line of scrimmage.
Yes, the physicality, especially with the secondary, is just phenomenal. Yep. How the linebackers flow versus home runs, over the top. I'm like, wow. Yep. And that linebackers will hit you. They'll hit you.
No doubt about it.
So, but then let's talk about the quarterback. I like him because, you kind of look. He's not your authentic, typical quarterback. He's edgy, he's raw. But I tell you what, man, and he is who he is, and he's got his own personality. But it kind of reminds me of a Marshawn Lynch. He just has that, that personality, that swagger to him, and it's just like, hey, you don't want me to be MVP? Okay, fine, I'll show you. Hey, you don't want me to take my team to the Super Bowl? Hey, I'll show you. It's just this deadly sounds about him, and he's playing with a level of confidence more so than ever. So I'm leaning more towards them, and you could tell, you could really tell his teammates really respect him. They ride for him. They definitely ride for him.
And his new coordinator, he and I worked together many years ago down in Jacksonville, and I'm very proud of Todd Monken on how he's brought him along as the new coordinator there and is shining his abilities. He's doing a good job.
Yes. So, but regardless, both good games. Hopefully it's entertaining and not a blowout. I hate blowouts because that gets boring. I end up turning the TV off. So hopefully it just gets to the last two series, depending on who's up. So I'm excited for it.
Same with me.
Coach Greg, G-Dub, what you think? What's your picks, man? You already chewed me out last week, but
let me this. I was 100% last week, right? Yeah,
you were.
Well,
here's
100%. I'm gonna let my emotions and my sentiments get into a couple of picks. I'm gonna go with Detroit just because I've got so many people on that staff and organization, and obviously the GM, worked with me at the Rams too, and a lot of different things. So I'm gonna go Detroit because I want the city of Detroit to feel great. Since 1957, I never win in a game at this significance. I think it'd be great. And then, I was born and raised just outside of Kansas City, so I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid and see how it goes. But I think it's going to be a dogfight in both those games.
My picks obviously has to be the Lions. I mean, at first I was thinking Goff wasn't Goff, and he's going out there. He's proving everyone wrong.
He's proving he's a bear. He's a Cal Bear too. So
I'm telling you. So it's like exactly. And it's like week by week. I'm like, okay, man, something. He's clicking. And obviously, like G-Dub was saying, haven't won a Super Bowl yet either. Barry Sanders. He's gonna be over there. We already know the big dudes. Calvin's gonna be over there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just time. And I feel like 49ers. Last week, the way they struggled against the Packers, I mean,
Packers had it, man.
That could have went both ways.
This is going to be the key. Hey, this is going to be the key. If Deebo Samuel plays, it's going to be a lot different game, and Detroit's got a lot of things to handle now. But if he doesn't play, watch out for them.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like
the offense.
It's like Laporta, Gibbs, I
Yep.
mean, St. Brown, they're all clicking at the right time, right?
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like you're playing Madden and you're playing, you're playing Ultimate Team. You go through the playoffs and you're just winning game by game. It's just like the morale just goes up,
Yep.
So
Yep.
I just feel like Detroit's gonna have them, just maybe within 7 points, but I think they're gonna get that dub. And then when it comes to Baltimore, I mean, Lamar's, like Andre was saying.
Yep.
He's just that dude, man. He's a humble guy. He doesn't show off. He doesn't talk extra. He just goes out and performs. Baltimore's defense looking too fierce.
They are.
And Kansas City, I feel like they're winning, but there's something about them that just makes me itch. I don't know what it is.
They're not the same. The continuity is
They're not.
different.
I agree.
They're not the same teams. They're off.
Exactly. It's just I just feel that something there could just not work any given day, and
Yeah.
it just could be this week, right?
Yeah.
So I think the Ravens gonna get that on the edge, but yeah, that's my pick for this week, and we shall see next week how the picks goes.
We'll see.
Andre, I appreciate you coming up on
Yeah,
here.
thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
And
Thanks, Greg.
anytime. Obviously we
See
all
you,
would.
man. Great to see you.
Same here, Coach. Appreciate you, man. You take care of yourself.
I
Thanks, man.
hope the
Appreciate you.
best for your future endeavors and whatever you do, coaching, everything, man. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you
man.
coming on.
Hey,
Enjoy
same
that.
to you, man. Appreciate it.
Enjoy your family.
I am. I'm loving every minute of it. It's I always laugh because I'm a 13-year-old vet and now I'm a soccer dad. So and I'm still learning. Every time I talk soccer, my dad Quincy's like, "Dad, you don't know anything." I was like, "No, I don't, but that's why you teach me." So
Well, this is the first time in 40 plus years that I've had for 2 years to get back with my family because I've never had 40 plus years, and now they want me to go back. They're tired of it.
Hey, you can't cuss them out, that's for sure.
I know. Great show, and you made my heart sing when I saw him. And good man and good coach, good player, good dad, and I think that's great.
Oh, definitely. He's a good guy. I texted him. I had to have him on.
Yep.
He's a real one. Like I said, they don't make him like him anymore. We will see how the picks goes next week.
Yep.
And we will come on with another episode next week. And everyone out there, enjoy the weekend, and let's see how the games go. Coach G-Dub, you want to end it?
Rock and roll, and here we go. Ready, break. Come get
some.